What if the moon were a mirror?
Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing not a pale gray rock, but a flawless silver mirror hanging above you.
A giant cosmic disco ball, silently turning in the dark, reflecting everything that happens on Earth. You wave at it, and billions of tiny reflections wave back. But what would really happen if the moon suddenly became a perfect mirror? First, the world would get dramatically brighter. A full moon now gives us only about 1/1,000,000th the brightness of the sun. But a mirrored moon would bounce sunlight straight back at us, like a giant flashlight aimed at Earth. During the day, it would be almost invisible, lost in the sun's glare. But at night, it would be nearly as bright as daylight, a permanent silver noon. You could read books outside at midnight without a lamp. Owls would need sunglasses. Vampires would have to switch careers, and it wouldn't just be light, it would be heat. All that reflected sunlight means our nights would no longer cool down. Temperatures would stay uncomfortably high, especially near the equator. Ecosystems that rely on darkness and cold would collapse. Coral reefs would bleach faster. Nocturnal animals would lose their rhythm, and even your circadian cycle, the biological clock that tells you when to sleep, would be permanently confused. Humanity would become a species of eternal jet lag. Then there's the other side of the mirror, literally. The far side of the moon, which never faces Earth, would be completely black. Since it's a perfect reflector, it wouldn't absorb any sunlight. It would be a sphere of shadow, a cold, empty shell, drifting in space. The contrast would be eerie, one half burning bright, the other frozen in darkness. Astronomers trying to study deep space would hate it. Every telescope would be ruined by the glare. Ground-based observatories would have to shut down or move underground, like cave-dwelling stargazers. The phrase, dark side of the moon, would suddenly make a lot more sense, because it would be the only dark thing left in the sky. And then there's the fun part. Reflections. The mirrored moon would reflect not just sunlight, but Earthlight. Every time you looked up, you'd see a giant reflection of our own planet. Clouds, continents, cities, storms, the whole Earth staring back. It would be mesmerizing and a little creepy, like living under a cosmic webcam. On clear nights, people could literally see themselves. Billboards would advertise directly to the moon just to get free global exposure. Couples would take moon selfies that actually show themselves. Privacy would become a lost concept. But the real chaos would start when the moon reflected the sun directly into space and onto the rest of the solar system. The moon would become a wandering spotlight, occasionally blinding Mars or giving Jupiter an unexpected tan. Space probes might get fried by stray beams. Satellites around Earth would have to dodge deadly bursts of concentrated light whenever they passed through the moon's reflection zone. Even astronauts on the International Space Station might find themselves suddenly illuminated like insects under a lamp. And what about lunar eclipses? Normally, Earth's shadow covers the moon, turning it red and dramatic, but a mirrored moon would bounce that shadow straight back at us. Instead of a red moon, we'd see Earth's night side reflected, glowing with city lights, lightning flashes, and even the flicker of auroras. The eclipse would look like a live projection of our own planet. Beautiful, terrifying, and slightly narcissistic. Artists and poets would have a field day. The moon, long a symbol of mystery and longing, would turn into a literal mirror of ourselves. Every song about moonlight would become a song about ego. Werewolves would transform every night, exhausted. Astronomers would quit, but therapists would get busy. Humanity, faced with its own reflection in the heavens, might finally start asking uncomfortable questions. What do we actually want to see when we look up? But there's one more twist. Mirrors don't just reflect, they focus. A perfectly smooth moon would act like a giant concave lens, slightly bending and concentrating sunlight. Depending on its curvature, it might even scorch parts of Earth. Imagine a lunar death ray sweeping across the surface as the moon rises and sets, igniting dry forests or vaporizing unlucky satellites. Engineers might try to tilt the moon slightly to control it, but that would only create new problems. Imagine a global argument over who gets the beam time. Countries would fight not over oil or gold, but over who controls the mirror in the sky. Eventually, people might decide the mirrored moon was too dangerous. Scientists could propose covering it with dust, paint, or nanomaterial films to reduce reflectivity. But others would argue to keep it. It's beautiful, they'd say, a monument to human vanity. Tourists would visit special observatories just to stare at Earth's reflection on the moon's surface. The phrase moonlight would finally make sense, even if it burned your skin. So, what would happen if the moon were a mirror? We'd gain a second sun, a perfect nightlight, and an enormous reminder that even the cosmos can't stop us from staring at ourselves. The world would shine brighter. And maybe, just maybe, a little too bright for comfort.